on, everybody? I am Jimmy Don Kerr from the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel, and my guest today is the purveyor of what I believe to be one of the most creative and funny channels on YouTube today. You're going to see segments such as Whack Comics Live, where you get classic content, Daddy's Toy Chest, Takeable Penis, Whack Hacks. You get Whack Shorts. You get videos on how to improve your Funko Pops with a comic book. And what if Edward Norton were the Hulk? Everyone join me in welcoming to 10 questions the man with 1,000 copies of Berserker #1, Lee from Whack Comics.
Hey, how you going?
Hey, how you going, my friend?
I've got some copies of Berserker down here I can grab if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you gladly show those off.
You alright, dog? My dog's having a sneeze on me too. Here we go. Here's a couple of issues of Berserker at the moment.
Yeah, I've seen more Whack Hacks with Berserker #1 than I care to talk about, and that may be one of the questions that we get into is like, where did all those copies come from? So let's jump straight in, Lee. And the first question is the same for everybody, and that's what or who got you into comics?
I reckon if I could trace it back, it might be my older brother. My older brother would I grew up in a pretty big family, and my older brother would grab some comics from his mates and bring them home sometimes, and we would read them downstairs together. And I can't even remember like what issues they were. I know there was like random issues of Spider-Man and X-Men and things like that, Punisher, lots of Marvel stuff. But yeah, that was my first sort of introduction. And then after that, sort of lost them for a while. Didn't think of comics for ages, and then I sort of started getting back into them around 1920.
Mm-hmm.
And went into comic book stores and started picking stuff up again, and haven't stopped.
Cool, man. So you say you come from a pretty big family. Like, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
A lot.
I don't know. More than I care to tell you.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's really complicated because it's like, some of them are like half or whatever.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, like have same mums or the same dad or whatever like that. But yeah, I got a pretty big family.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So as far as I guess the hobby itself, you're obviously from Australia, and are comic books a big thing there? Like it is in the US, or the Marvel movies a big thing there? I'm assuming it's very much like the US, but as far as is it very different at all as far as the popularity?
I suppose there's definitely not as many comic book stores around, I don't. Maybe there's definitely not as many older comics around too. I hear you guys talk about you've got like Bins galore, Lady Fantastic. Every time I go on Nottingham Mint, she has like these mad hauls of 25-cent books that she got, and I'm like, just we've never had. Well, I've never seen things like that, at least,
Right.
But yeah, maybe not as big, but there's still a scene, still a scene around, for sure.
How many shops would you say that you have within like an hour of you?
I've got 3 within an hour. I mean, there's one in the city. There used to be 4 in the city, like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. There used to be 4 in the city. They all started closing one by one, and then there's 2 over in Annalee. So yeah, 3.
Yeah, I know. Like for me, it's different than a lot of the guys I listen to them talk on their channels, and they've got comic book stores just everywhere. And like the closest one to me is like an hour away in each direction. There's one in each direction, and then you got to drive 3 hours to get multiple. And so I just kind of wonder sometimes. Like I feel like I'm out on an island somewhere. Like when it comes to being able to get to the store, to be able to
Yeah.
buy some of these things. And I just wondered if it's kind of that way too, where you're in another country, because I know a lot of these things will originate from here or different places, and then when they get shipped out. So, is your new comic book day? Does the stuff get there like by Wednesday, like what is considered new comic book day?
Everything, I'm always late on stuff, at least a week or two late on everything. I'm pretty lucky because I live like near the city, like not too far from the city, Brisbane City, so I
Mm-hmm.
can just jump on the train and be in the city within like usually half an hour or so.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I usually go in there fortnightly to pick up my stuff because that's another thing. I know each store is a little bit different, but my main squeeze it gets in there shipments fortnightly, like their main shipments, like through Diamond,
Mm-hmm.
just to save on shipping, I suppose, because it costs a bit of money, you know, to get stuff shipped every single week. But yeah, there's like that one, and then there's that other store. One of the three stores that I mentioned don't even get new comic book day stuff in at all. So they're just
Really?
like, yeah, they're
So
just
they're just
like
doing all back issue stuff.
back issue stuff, yeah. And they have like some older stuff, as well. Some more pricier stuff. I don't go there too often because it's like pretty pricey. Um, but yeah, always a bit behind.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I always kind of wondered that. I imagine so, though. And you're right. It's a great point. Something I hadn't necessarily thought about is it is expensive to ship overseas. And, for these shops having to pay for shipping to get them there, there's not a big profit margin in those shops anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
so you
they've
got to
got
kind of,
customs on top of that they have to pay for as well and
right.
everything
Yeah.
else. So
I hadn't really thought about it like that. Yeah. I mean, that's right. So, all right. So, question two, Lee, is since getting back into it, like, do you consider yourself a reader who collects, or are you just strictly a collector?
I've always been a reader who collects for sure. I love to read. Reading's my favorite thing to do. I read like everywhere I go. Like I said, when I catch the train to the city or whatever, I've got a book with me when I'm gonna go pick up new books and I'm reading my new books on the way home or whatever. And like wherever I'm going, I'm reading. But I also love to collect as well because I've got all my hardcovers and they all look so nice up on the shelf together. So I do enjoy collecting the collecting aspect of it all, no doubt, or else I would just read everything digitally. But yeah, definitely reading is more than collecting.
Do you read other things other than comic books? Do you like to read graphic novels, fiction, biographies? Like, or are you strictly kind of just a reader of comics?
I read comics and graphic novels. I read a couple of books, but I'm not that great with reading because I do that thing where I'll read the same line 13 times
Yeah,
or miss a line and then realize it. And yeah, sometimes it takes me like 20 minutes to read one whole page of text. So comic books are more easier, because it's just a speech bubble and you just fucking have to read that little part there and get on to the next part or whatever. It's just easier to digest for me, I suppose. But I think that's one of the things that held me back from reading for so long, because I wasn't much of a reader growing up in school and stuff like that, and
hmm,
because I've always had that sort of problem. And then when I found comic books, my brother started giving me comic books to read and stuff, and it was a lot more easier to read.
yeah. And one of the beautiful things about comic books is the art also kind of tells the story. It's very visual.
Yeah,
I know that's one of the things I've noticed. Like, I've gone back and been reading some of the stuff from like the '80s, '90s, where it was really wordy. Um, Now you don't have as many words, but the art is very much a part of telling that story. Do you find that to be the case, and as far as the way you digest it?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I just finished reading Isola, uh, that Ignacio suggested, and that comic book was amazing. There's not many words in it at all, really. It's pretty silent, but like just the way that the panels move the story along, without it, and you're still spending a good second or like a good minute almost looking at each panel because like the art's just so beautiful. And
Yeah.
there's so much to take in, like even the background's telling a story, and
Now I'm told that you are a big Jeff Lemire fan and that you consume everything that Jeff Lemire puts out.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about Mr. Lemire?
Um, he makes me cry a lot. Maybe I love seriously. No one's made me cry more than Jeff Lemire, like in real life or anything. Um, he's just writes some really emotive stories. It's made me have feelings that I try not to feel sometimes or whatever, and
Right.
like, but also made me realize some other shit. What I've been reading. I'm like, oh yeah, that sort of makes sense why I feel like this and stuff like that. But also, I love his art and the writer arter combination is amazing, and his style. He just has that style that I absolutely adore. It's really simple, but really um, yeah, just perfect for his writing as well. It's when he's writing and drawing a comic book, that's like peak Lemire for me.
So, serious question, because I haven't read a ton of Jeff Lemire, okay, if I'm being 100% honest. And I read it's a new book that just came out, like May's book or May's
Yep,
something.
May's book. I've got
Is
it right over here.
like I thought that was amazing.
Oh yeah, that was sad as shit too, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, like what you just said, and the reason I bring it up is because, like, this is the first time in a while that a book like actually moved me. Like, I was like, oh man, I
Yeah.
feel sorry for this guy. Like he's just kind of wandering through life. He misses his daughter. Yeah, I mean, I thought that, like, I feel like that has the potential to be a special book.
Oh yeah.
Depending on how it goes. Um, what if you were recommending a Jeff Lemire title? Outside of obviously that, like, what's kind of a go to that maybe I should go pick up and check out?
One that I like to sell people on is Plutona because it's really easy to sell. It's
Plutona.
one of the ones that really got me hooked as well. It came out around the same time as Descender, and I was like reading them both together, and I was like, Plutona made me like a diehard fan. But it's Plutona is about five kids that find a dead superhero in the woods, and that's all I really like to say about it because I reckon if that doesn't sell you enough, like
Yeah, I mean that sounds kind of awesome. Yeah, no, but that it really was. It was the first time in a while that I read something and I was like, wow. Like the something about the way that he drew the story, the art, the
yeah,
way that the story was told, it just completely sucked me in. Like I was like, oh wow. And then when it was done, I was looking for more pages. I was like, I don't want this to be over. So yeah, so Plutona and then Descender. He wrote Descender also.
yeah, Descender's great too. That's with Dustin Nguyen. Um, that's about a little robot, like robot companion that he's like almost the savior of the world, of this robot world, and it's like this robot world's coming to an end, and then he like goes from Descender to an Ascender, and it's like an ongoing story, but it goes like Descender is more of like a sci-fi sort of robot thing, and then Ascender is more like a magical sort of fantasy sort of thing, which is it's just a crazy fun
Very
story.
cool. Yeah, so that's something I'm definitely going to check out, and I'll let you know what I think about it because I'm always looking for something to read, something different that I haven't read, and that was one. Like I said, it was. I knew you were a Jeff Lemire fan, and I thought I want to ask him about this and ask him about a title, something
Yeah.
else I can read that's good.
And there's always Essex County. I love Essex County. That's what I've got the tattoo on my wrist from, which you can probably see perfectly. It's I'll show you a picture. Maybe we can add it in later because it's really hard to see. But Essex County it's a graphic novel. It's like just a trilogy of stories. The first story is about this kid on a farm who's like really lonely and finds solace in comic books and stuff like that. And the second one is about an old hockey player, and the third one is about a night nurse. And they're all just like short sort of stories, and they're all collected in a thing, and it's just such a beautiful story. Yeah, well, like they all tie in together. It's like um yeah, it's great stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check them out. So let's roll to question 3 here. So,
Okay.
I like to ask this question too because everybody has different reasons that they jumped on YouTube. But like, what was your reason? And like, how long? First off, how long have you been on YouTube now?
I started the Black Comics channel in July of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so July 2020. I started the channel because I was like, I was so like beginning of 2020, I started to get a bit more motivated to go out because I had been locked myself away for a while, just going through shit. And I finally felt motivated to go out and start doing open mic nights again and start performing and whatnot. And I had a set list together, some songs that I wrote and some stuff. And then as soon as I was like ready, COVID happened, and then uh, couldn't go out and do anything. All the lockdowns, all that
Yeah.
stopped. So I was just like sitting at home with nothing to do for ages, and I was just sort of looking for a creative outlet, you know. And I had um, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do at first. I knew I wanted to do a YouTube channel with comic books. The funny thing is, I talked about this a little bit on our 1 year anniversary stream, but I originally was gonna do a comic book channel just about Jeff Lemire comic books, and it was gonna be like a serious, wasn't gonna be like anything like White Comics, like just a serious channel reviewing every single Jeff Lemire comic book and talking about everything Jeff Lemire.
Yeah.
I recorded one video for it and it was terrible, so I scrapped the whole idea.
But I mean, because really, man, Whack Comics is like of this community, like, and I'm sure most people know that watch this. There's like these little pockets of friend groups, essentially. It's like being in high school in a way. Like you've got these different friends, and of all the channels of the people that I'm friends with, Whack Comics is hands down the most different. Like it is very different. So that really wasn't even like the first inclination of the channel or the first. It was
No,
a Jeff Lemire
so
serious channel.
it was Jeff Lemire serious channel, and then I recorded the first video and I watched it back and I said I can't do serious, and I sat and I didn't do anything for like maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month, and I just sat on it thinking what else I could do. And I was looking at my comics thinking, I've got a bit too many, maybe I could just fucking start ripping them up and fuck shit up. And
And Whack Comics was born.
yeah, because I suppose like I was still feeling a little bit uh a bit all over the place. I felt like it was a bit cathartic as well, just getting in and ripping shit up and being destructive. And like the really early episodes, they really are nothing but destruction. There's no point to them. It's just like I'm just ripping these comic books up, and then it started getting more entertaining. I'm really glad that Tyler came on, because like he came on pretty early. Like the 14th video that we did was the one that he did an edited one on. We did a couple of live streams together before we did an edited one, but I definitely think the channel turned into something else once he came on. Like he helped me find ways to make it funnier and stuff like that.
So that's something I wanted to ask was question, and this is question 4, is like, how did you and Tyler meet? Because, Tyler has his own thing going where he does the comic book reviews and the different things, but he is very, very much Whack Comics. I mean, it's a lot. He's on there all the time and he's very,
Oh
very
yeah,
much with you. So, like,
I've
how did you all even meet?
I've slowly corrupted him over time. He was just a normal, comic book nerd reviewing comic books on Twitter. You know,
And you
uh,
twisted him into this thing that he is today.
yeah, he was only putting out reviews at 280 characters a time or something, whatever it is, on Twitter. And now he's swearing and ripping comic books up and dropping the C bombs everywhere and making his wife go, "What the," you know. but yeah, we actually met on fucking on Twitter. I made a Twitter maybe after I made like my third or fourth video, and I shared it on Twitter, and I just started like following a bunch of random comic book people on Twitter, and
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I saw Tyler's profile, and I was looking through his stuff, and I was like, so he was reviewing all these fucking comics, and I was like, oh, he might be a cool dude to talk to about comics on YouTube, and so I got him on. It was just gonna be like a one, have him on for the one time and or whatever. But we had a good time, and so invited him back for the next time, and he just kept on coming back, and um, like like we put him on the. I had that logo. I drew the logo originally without Tyler. It was just me next to the box, and
Mm-hmm.
then you could. That was when he like became an official part of White Comics. Was when I think when he was on the logo.
So he's basically a stalker that just you decide to let in the house.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it could have been the other way around too. You know.
Yeah, you might have been stalking him. Maybe you were stalking
Yeah,
each other.
yeah. We're stalking each other. It worked out well in the end. Worked
Oh
out
no,
well
you guys
for
have
both parties.
amazing chemistry. Like I mean, like it's amazing to watch you guys. Like you have amazing chemistry, and it's just random that some cat from Illinois,
Oh
um,
yeah,
and a dude in Australia had that much chemistry that they came together and made this amazing channel. I mean, like,
definitely.
and and that's and that's really kind of question 5 for me is like the segments themselves. Like my brain doesn't work like that at all. Okay, so I mean, I think that's probably why I enjoy it so is because it's my brain does not work that way. Like, how do you yourself come up with a lot of these segments, and do you and Tyler work together a lot in kind of planning things out? Like, read your comic books. What was the one you did the other day? I think it was like an offshoot of something that Two Brothers did, but like it disturbed me. It was you laying in the floor, and
The
like it
Adrift
just
Collector. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, the Adrift Collector, yes. And so like how do you guys work through those?
Sometimes, yeah, it's really good. It's funny how you say we've got like such a good chemistry and stuff because it definitely didn't start like that. If you go back and watch our like the first couple of live streams we did together, it was so boring. Like going back and watching them now, we're like, oh god, that was terrible. What were we doing? It definitely didn't start getting like funny and didn't start adding the segments until like I think maybe the 13th or 15th live stream, maybe even further down than that. But it's sort of sometimes I come up with ideas, sometimes he comes up with ideas. We'll bring them to each other and sort of work on them more. Like the one with the Adrift Collector. Like I was just watching two bros. I watched that video and I was like, it was 2 minutes in, and I was like, I have to parody this. This is too fucking good.
Yeah.
Like it was just amazing. And like bros at first, I think they thought that I was like making fun of them or whatever, and I was like, no, it was fucking hilarious. Like I wanted to. It inspired me to make something of my own with it.
Well, a lot of times a
So,
parody is like respect. It's like,
yeah,
it's a shout out. Like, dude, this was so awesome that it inspired me to do this.
yeah, exactly. But and then with some of the segments for the live stream, some of them just like write themselves. Like, this is the second time I've mentioned Lady Fantastic. I miss Lady Fantastic. Can't wait till I'm on another stream with her. It's been ages. But I'm not near mint with Lady Fantastic. We were just talking. We were interviewing a creator, and they were talking about takeable penises and stuff like that. And Lady Fantastic is just like, that sounds like a whack comic segment. And she just starts singing it, takeable. I was like, I looked at the timestamp and it was like writing it down and she was singing it, like
Yeah.
I knew this had to be a segment. And I hit up Tyler about it. I was like, our new segment, Tyler. And I was like, sent him the intro that I made and everything, and he was like, "Oh, I really don't know about this one. This one might be pushing it a bit too far." And and then it's been one of our favorite segments since.
Oh, it's
And
insane.
yeah, and then this like breaking news. We just wanted we're trying to think of things to put our guests on their toes, and what can we do? We're like, oh, let's like have a quick news thing, and then we play that, and then they're there and they have to do something, like And then the Daddy's Toy Chest was all Tyler's idea. I'll give credit where credit's due with that one. I love Daddy's Toy Chest. It's definitely a staple of the live shows now. But I remember the first time he told me about that. He's like, because he wanted to do a toy chest video to like, because two brothers do one, a toy chest one. He's like, let's do a toy chest video segment like Two Brothers, but say daddy the whole time. And I was and I was like, that could work, maybe. Let's give it a go. And then I think the first person that we had it on with was DJ Links, and it was fucking hilarious how uncomfortable DJ Links felt. And it was just like, and he was like sort of warming up to it, but sort of, not at the same time. And it's just one of our favorite things now. It's like, especially guests that come on that really haven't seen too much of the show, and we're trying to make them say daddy and shit, and it's just like so fucking immature. We had Mark on, and he was saying something about his alien toy, and it looked like a penis or something, and I was like, would you say that's daddy something penis? And he's like, yes. And Tyler's like, say it. and then Mark says it, and then I was just like, fuck's sake, what are we doing here? This is
Oh, it's so funny, man. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I have to be honest. Like when I was on the live, that is as much fun as I've had, and I've had a lot of fun, like on a lot of these channels. But what you guys do is you can be yourself, or not even be yourself. You can be an exaggerated version of yourself. Because I'm very serious most of the time. Like, just in my day-to-day life, what I have to do, I'm very straightforward, I'm very serious, I'm very analytical. And even on my channel, that kind of comes through. I'm not necessarily really I talk funny, but I'm not necessarily, trying to be funny. Well, I get on your all show and I'm just like, screw it. I'm just going all in. And that was as
Coco
much
Radiant flying everywhere.
Coco Radiant flying everywhere. That's as much fun. And that's one of the beautiful things about your channel is people can come on there and just do whatever, and it's okay. And
Yeah.
I've never been so uncomfortable and so happy at the same time in my entire life.
That's one thing I definitely like to do, is make the guests feel a little bit uncomfortable, and I think that's one of the whole things when I started the channel as well. I just wanted people to feel something. If they liked it or if they didn't like it, if they loved it or they hated it, if it made them really angry or really sad or really happy. As long as they were feeling something watching it, it was a win for me.
Oh, well, you definitely achieved that. I said it is like the Adrift Collector. Like I legit got uncomfortable. I was like, dude, Lee, what are you doing to me? Like he said, I was like, oh no. But yeah, no, like I don't know. It truly is one of my favorite channels, and like I said, because it's so different. Everybody's trying to find their lane. In what they do, right? Like I do a lot of new comic book day stuff. 10 Questions obviously is my, kind of the staple of my channel. And you guys picked a completely different lane. Like this is a completely different lane than what most comic book channels are doing. Is that a reflection of like you in real life? Like, are you kind of goofy and like to laugh and cut up and curse in real life? Like, is that kind of who you are?
Yeah, I don't talk as much though. I think this is pretty much me, but a lot quieter. I think I'm a bit more reserved. Don't like to talking is definitely not one of my favorite things to do. That's why I like that we have so much fun and just be silly and never have to be that serious. Because if I had to be serious all the time, I wouldn't be able, but I'd fall apart, So just being having fun and shit. It's definitely how I try to be in real life. Maybe just with a side of a bit more sad at times. But but I try to play some music. I play a lot of music, and I think that's maybe the one thing that you don't see on the channel.
Well, that was actually question 6. And it's my understanding that you play bass guitar and drums. Is that correct?
Yeah, I play bass and drums and guitar as well.
So, and have you been in bands before? Like, is that something that you've,
Yeah.
got out and performed music? Talk about that a little bit. Like, I'm interested to know that. Like, what kind of music are you into and all that?
So I've been playing in bands since I was 19. So for like, how old am I now? 31. So that for that long, 12 years, 11 years, maybe
Hmm.
11 years. I'm not mathing right. It's 12:25 a.m. It's not good. It's not a good time to do math. But I've played in a lot of different kind of bands. I've played drums in a lot of sort of like grungy or metal bands, things like that. Um, I currently play the guitar in a comedy band, which is a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun that I've ever had making music because it's all just laughs. You know, it's
Yeah.
not serious at all, which is what I like. And yeah, I love all kinds of music. Really, it took me a while. When I was like a teenager, I was like, it's got to be metal or fucking nothing, you know.
Right. Right.
And but I sort of like evolved my music taste after that a while and got into a bit more. It was funny. It was folk sort of music that broke my metal phase. I still love metal and stuff like that, but got into some folk music and then some rap music and hip hop and shit. And no, I love pretty much everything but country. Um,
So, have you played music your whole life? Like, did you start playing instruments younger, or was that kind of later in life?
I started playing the drums was my first instrument that I started playing. I played like a bit of percussion in primary school. Like they didn't have like a full drum kit. I always wanted to play drums for like as long as I can remember. I was always asking my mum for a drum kit. And so I joined the band at in primary school, but they were like, no drum kit here, just grab those cymbals and smash them together. So I didn't didn't really learn like a lot of stuff in the percussion in primary school. But and when I finally got to high school, I sat behind a drum kit for the first time and didn't move um, for the whole of high school. I just sat behind a drum kit. I swear.
What was it about drums that attracted you to it? Just I guess that because really good metal music generally has a really good drummer, some guy that's back there absolutely tearing it up. It was that the draw to the drums, like you said, you always wanted to play drums. Was that the draw to it?
Yeah, I don't know if it was because I was, but you know, maybe it was because just hitting on things. I remember even when I was like really young, my mum used to say that I was always would pull out the pots and pans and would just smack on those even when I was like real young. But yeah, I always just enjoyed bashing on things and making a beat or a rhythm and um, seeing what sounds I could do. But well, definitely once I started getting more into metal and like finding out who drummers were, like Joey Johnson was a huge one for me. Um, in high school, especially. Um, the first time I saw him, I don't know if you've ever seen the video. He's like on a this circle sort of thing, playing the
Yeah.
drums, and it goes up like that and it
Yeah.
spins around. I remember I still remember the feeling that I got the first time I saw that as a teenager, just being like, that is like that's goals right there, sort of thing. You know, I want to be like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, that's, and it's, let me ask you, the bass, is that kind of a natural progression as far as like drums to an actual stringed instrument because it's also kind of rhythm, rhythm based?
Yeah. Well, well, I wanted to play guitar, but I thought it might be easier to learn bass first
Hmm.
because bass just seems like an easier instrument with only four strings, and then you have to, you know, use hold down one note at a time compared to a guitar, you know, where you have to hold like sometimes all four fingers in a,
Yeah.
you know, in a way that your fingers don't want to be held. So like I feel like learning the bass first was a good um stepping stone towards the guitar, you know. And I'm glad I did too because I absolutely love the bass.
So when I was in college, we had all my roommates played music. Like where I come from in Eastern Kentucky, it's very musical. Like people, there are a lot of people that are country music stars or things like that. Uncles used to sit around and play banjo. underneath the shed in the evenings. Everybody would come in, they'd come in from out of town. And so music was a big part of it. And these guys that I lived with in college did that. And we had a drum set, we had a bass, and I would play the bass guitar. And I mean, I sucked at it, but, I never got really good. But I could play a few songs. And the bass was a lot of fun. And I liked the rhythm and the swing to it almost, because you're kind of playing along with the drums in some ways. You're kind of following along with the beat of the drums. So, yeah, that's cool. So is guitar something that you picked up kind of later as far as like, or have you – I wouldn't say you ever master an instrument, but have you gotten to where you're pretty good playing it?
It's really funny. I shared a meme to Tyler the other day. It was like, it's like this guy that's, holding a guitar, and he's like, I've been playing the guitar for over 10 years. And then the scale, it's like, well, that must mean you're really good then. And he's like sweating with a cigarette. So yeah, I've been playing these three instruments for a long time, and I wouldn't say that I've mastered any of them. I'm still pretty far away from being a master of any of them. Like, I definitely know my way around them, well enough, but yeah, I'm not a master in any stretch of the imagination.
Do you ever sing? Like, is that something you do? Like, sing? I know you said you're a little bit shy, really, kind of off camera. Just do you ever sing?
I've sung here and there. I haven't really sung in many of the bands that I've played in. Like, I've sung maybe a song or two, but there was a stage, like I said, I was like getting ready last year to go out to do open mic nights. I was going to go out and sing and play the guitar and do the things, and like I did that for a while back in 2016. I did it for maybe the year. Um, but yeah, I sing occasionally. I'm not the greatest singer, and like I get really frustrated at myself because I wish I could sing. It's like some of my siblings are really really good at singing, and I get really jealous. But I give it my all.
Like, is there a big live music scene there in Australia? Like, is there a kind of a thriving like bar type where you hear live music? That was always my favorite thing to do when I was in school. It still is, just to go out and listen to live music.
Yeah, there definitely hasn't been since COVID and everything. That's like killed everything. Um, Music venues are dying in the arsehole, like all over town, all over everywhere. But there's definitely a music scene. The Brisbane music scene is pretty small. It's not that big. The music scene in Australia, I would say, like, is in Melbourne. It's like where it's at, the biggest music scene probably. But there's definitely like music spots around. Um, I met a lot of awesome, amazing people in the scene growing up. Um, a lot of people that taught me some cool stuff and look out for each other. But yeah, you definitely meet some interesting sorts out in the music scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is question 7. I want question 7 to be this, because one of the things that I notice about you specifically, a lot on the live shows and even on some of the recorded content, is you have amazing timing. Like, when I'm just going to have to use myself as an example just because I was on there, but as far as while we were doing things, we were talking, and like Tyler sucks, it would get put up in the, like during the absolute funniest time that it could be. Breaking news comes on right when it should. Like, it's like perfect timing where you'll drop some kind of little video. And it's just like, to me, like you are a comedic timing genius in the way that you do that. Do you relate that to to music? I mean, in some way, or do you even think of yourself that way?
I had no idea that was a thing that I did. So thank you.
Yeah, well, you do. I mean, like, it's
No,
amazing. I don't know, as far as like the stuff that you all do, it's just like it's dropped at the perfect time. And
awesome.
I don't know, as far as the comedy of it, it is very funny. You have great
Yeah.
comedic timing. I mean, it's amazing. So it's funny to me that you don't even realize you do it,
No,
because it's
yeah.
that good.
Sometimes it's just shit. Like, it's really funny. Like, I don't really think that I'm that funny. I've never really thought myself as like a funny person. I've always thought I'm pretty lame sense of humor, really dry, and But I think it sort of works because Tyler's almost as lame and as dry as me. So like we bounce off each other well, it's like, and we both talk like this with our boring monotone voice.
I don't know. It works, dude. And like I said, it's so funny. And then, like I said, you really do. You just got a gift when it comes to dropping things at the right time to where you get the max like laugh. And it's just, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been watching you guys and just laughed out loud, and my wife is like, what are you doing? Or I'm driving down the road looking, laughing like a hyena, and people are looking at me because I'm laughing. I don't know. It's just, I always wondered if you even knew you did that because, and then I knew you played music.
Sometimes I like when we have like a lot going on, I have to write down everything that we're doing. So I make sure we hit it all. And sometimes, like, I try and clip videos of our guests that come on and stuff like that. And sometimes I completely forget that we have them until like 40 minutes in the show. I'm like, oh shit, I've got this video, I'll play it. So it's like,
yeah, it's funny.
It's funny. You think it's like some sort of genius thing that coincides with my music because there's like, I have no idea. I'm just winging it.
Yeah, well, that's I like that you're just like kind of rolling, man. It's probably like I mean, to me, it's like playing music because you're back there, especially if you're playing drums. A lot of times, you're improvising, you're just kind of doing your thing. You're playing. If the guitar riff gets off, you've got to kind of keep everybody in time, and then so it kind of makes sense of running the show that you would drop these things at different times. It seems like it would go together. I find that. I don't know. I always thought that was interesting about you.
Yeah, maybe it does have something to do with music because I definitely did improvise a lot, like especially with the drums. Improvising is so that's like how we wrote a lot of our songs in some of the bands I was in. We wrote them live on stage, improvising,
Yeah.
And then we would always record our shows so we could go back and remember how to play it.
See what you did? Yeah. Yeah, I love that. No, yeah, you got to go back and so that you know exactly how you played it because you were just rolling. No, and that's one of my favorite things about music, though, is the improvisation. I can't talk. When you improvise and I don't know, just something beautiful comes out of it. It's just, I don't know. I love music. So, and question 8 for me is about music too. And like, I was just interested to know, you said you were a metal guy kind of growing up. Like, who were your metal bands? Like, who were your influences?
Well, so many. Definitely like Slipknot and stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was into like a lot of the new metal bands that were coming out at the time, I suppose, like Cold Chamber, Deftones, Limp Bizkit, Korn. But yeah, like drummer inspirations was like I loved Joey and I loved Dave Grohl and old mate from Rush. I always forget his name. Do you know his name?
Who is it?
The drummer from Rush. I always forget his name.
Oh, what is his name? No, he was a bad man though. What is his name?
I can't remember.
They've got this amazing thing called Google. Hang on.
Yeah.
Who is the drummer from Rush? Right. I have to know now.
I swear it's Pat something. If it's not, then I am bad with names though. So
no, Dave Grohl is one of my favorites. I mean, he was just kind of an animal when he was in Nirvana.
Yeah,
I mean, really was just an animal back there on the drums. And then, as far as what he's been able to do with the Foo Fighters has been insane. He's just a musical genius, I believe.
Yeah. But some other huge inspirations like that are not metal bands, I suppose, are like Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love Pink Floyd. They're in like my top 3 bands like ever.
So Neil Peart,
and
then you had John Rutsey at one time. So
Pat,
drummer of Rush, if anybody needed to know that.
There you go.
Yeah. So, like I just went to a big festival. Saw Korn. Saw Breaking Benjamin. Metallica is my favorite band, if you didn't know that. And Lars, as a drummer, I think is a machine. I mean, just the things that he's been able to do back there just amaze me. But yeah, so you mentioned that you kind of broke off, said I don't have to be just a metalhead, and kind of got into more folksy music. Like, what kind of music do you dig on that side?
Some like Australian, some lot of Australian artists like Xavier Rudd, Job the Trio, the Twux, And then there was like the stuff like Creedence Clearwater and stuff like that, um, and then I got into like a lot of rap and stuff. Like I love Childish Gambino and Dr. Dre, Eminem, stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah, I get all over the place with music. It's, yeah,
Yeah, no, I do too. I like a little bit of everything, including country, but I don't like new country. I like old country. So it's
yeah.
the old stuff. It was country music then, so it's
I
not
go
now.
through like real big stages of like listening to the one artist for a long time and then never
Uh
been able to listen to him again. I remember,
huh.
I remember listening to Metallica when I was like maybe 13, around then, and I just can't listen to it now. Hey, it doesn't do the same thing for me. I don't know why.
That's so sad. They bring
Mm,
such joy to me. Like I mean, they really do. Like I love them. Like
yeah,
it is. They are my band. Have been. I watched when the Black Album came out. They went on tour. I was like 15 years old. Went to the show, and it changed my life. I'm not joking. People think that's crazy, but it legit changed my life in the way that I view music
yeah.
and what I listen to today. So question 9, Lee, is do you collect anything other than comics? I mean, like are you into Funkos? I know I see a few Funkos over there. I know you dig masks. Like what kind of other stuff are you into?
Yeah, it's funny. My mum likes to say that I'm a collector of collections,
Uh huh.
because I have a lot of different collections. Um, I love I collect vinyl. I collect Lego. I collect action figures. I there was a stage where I was like going collecting just like random tins. I love like just really odd shaped tins. The
Mm-hmm.
odder shaped, the better. Like I had like ones like Arnott's biscuit tins that were like in the shape of the truck and things like that. And there's like movie cups and popcorn tin cups and stuff like that, and even plates. Like seriously, I was going through collecting the most random stuff for ages, and I still do. It's I have a bit of a collecting problem, because it's funny, because when you asked me before, like the first question, are you more of a reader or a collector? When it comes to comic books, I'm more of a reader, but I'm definitely like a collector, because I collect just like random shit in general.
Yeah.
But but I've sort of moved away from collecting other stuff like that, because I think if I and like spending more money on comic books than I instead of like other stuff, because I always think, if I may as well buy something I can read and collect, because all these other things that I was collecting, apart from vinyls, they just sit there after I've bought it and do nothing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I have that same problem. Like I tell people I have a problem. I mean, I could collect, like I've tried to stay away from Funko Pops. I dig action figures. I dig trading cards. Like I legit could collect anything. I mean, I
mm,
don't know why. I like it, and it is
yeah,
fun, and it's fun to hunt. I mean, that's the thing for me. It's almost like going on a treasure hunt, in a way. And then, like I said, growing up with my uncle being who he was, and us being out all the time, I think that's why I like it so much. I don't know. All right, so
yeah.
question 10: do you have a grail? Like, is there a grail that Lee's hunting for, or is it more, hey, I just like reading the books and getting the hardcovers? Like, are you hunting for a grail?
There is a couple of things that I've been hunting for. Um, I want to get they're all definitely related. There's like three things, and like maybe two of them are starting to get more and more unattainable. But the first thing is I would love some Jeff Lemire original art. Love his art. I'd love to get some original art, if it was from his comic book, or if it was from just like a sketch or whatever. I just would love some original art. And I would love a Sweet Tooth #1 signed by Lemire, would be amazing. And the other one is Ashtray #1 and 2 by Jeff Lemire. They're going to be like the hardest thing I'll ever find, because they were his first ever work that he did. He self-published them, like issue
Mhm.
one only has 400 copies. Issue 2 only has 100 copies. So
Oh, wow.
they're very hard to come by. When they do come up, they're really expensive. But I've made it my goal to own everything that Jeff Lemire has ever published, and I'm almost there, actually.
Oh, wow. Well, cool.
But I think that ashtray is going to hold me back. But at least I've got a what is it called? Digital copy of it so I can read it. I can at least I can read it, but I don't think I'll actually get to hold it in my hands.
Yeah, that'd be hard, man, to come across, something that only had like 100 and 200 run, print run. That's crazy. Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, Lee, that's 10 questions, man. That was a hoot, dude. That was a lot of fun. It was good to get to know you a little better. I told you off camera before we came on, ever since I came on your all's channel, came on your channel and did the live, I was like, I have to talk to Lee. I want to get to know Lee better. I had such a good time, and I want to thank you for that, because it truly, it's been one of the highlights of my YouTube journey was coming on Whack Comics. I had so much freaking fun. That like I said, I've never been so uncomfortable and so happy all at the same time. And that's like what Whack Comics is. And so well done, man. I got to say, you've got a great thing going there.
Thanks, serious, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you inviting me on it as well. I was chatting to Tyler before I came on, and I was like, I've never been this nervous to go on a thing like ever, and I don't like how nervous I am, and I didn't even need to be nervous. It was a great time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, man, it was a hoot. I had an absolute blast. So if you're watching this, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Whack Comics is, that's Lee. His boy Tyler comes on with him every week. Shattered Glass Reviews. You can actually follow him on Twitter. He actually does a really nice job reviewing comics. To see him on Whack Comics and then to see the reviews that he does, it's like an alternate reality. But he actually does a really nice job reviewing. So I'll leave links down below for both those guys and for Whack Comics, so you can go over and check them out. They're on their road to 1,000 subs. They got this thing going on right now with Adrian APM that, whoever gets there first gets smashed in the face with a pie. Just watched a video of Tyler promoting that right before Lee and I came on. So, go check these guys out. They are phenomenal. If you want to laugh, that's all I can tell you. If you like to laugh, go watch these guys. It's very different. And also, if you like to be made uncomfortable at times, that doesn't happen every time, but it does happen.
Or if you like to cry, or like to get angry.
If you like Coco Radiant,
that's
where things like that come out. Is
if you like Daddy,
if you like Daddy,
yeah.
If you want to know who has a takeable penis,
we answer that question every week. Yeah,
every week. These are the type of hard-hitting questions. What can you do with a comic book? Like when I was on, if you were going to be playing baseball, what kind of whack hack could you have with a comic book? And I think we came up with some very, very good ones, a very disturbing dance from Tyler. So guys, go check Whack Comics out. Like I said, I'll put it down in the description below where to go find these guys. They are the best. They also agreed to help me on my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which was very, very cool. We've hit that. I'm trying to get it planned. So hopefully, or maybe by the time you watch this, it may have already happened. I don't know. We'll see. This could be the future. So who knows? But anyway, go check Whack Comics out. Love these guys. They truly are the best, Lee and Tyler. So yeah, definitely go check them out. Also, as I always like to end these, I've got the discount code with Street Level Hero LA. It's STC10. If you go over there, you get 10% off your order. But most importantly, Street Level Hero donates 25% of your overall order to the American Cancer Society for Cancer Research. Such a great cause and one that has impacted, I'm sure, all of our lives at some point, and mine most definitely. So yeah. All right, guys. Lee, Whack Comics. This has been 10 Questions.